What was he trying to prove by showing his hands and feet? Was he trying to prove that he was resurrected?
Yup.
Was he trying to prove that he was spirit? He was trying to prove that he was not a spirit. He was not resurrected.
Once again, beloved, I greet you and I welcome you to Lawson Media. My name is Boache Stephen, and you know for sure that whenever I get in my seat here, we dismantling those several assertions that has been made against Christianity since time immemorial. Well, on this platform, I always tell you that I present reasonable polemics against authentic historic Islam, and we create the awareness that indeed Jesus Christ descended purposely for man's redemption. Dr. Zakir Naik and Shabir Alai and co has been the eye of Muslims, the mouth of Muslims, and surely they've been traveling to several lot of countries and they've been debating, they've been holding seminars and all that, and they've been making several lot of statements and are used by Islamic communities, or both the urban and the rural areas or rural sides of the Islamic participants. Well, David Wood is actually going to respond to Zakir Naik when he actually was making a claim to his addresses that Jesus Christ wasn't any God, or he didn't rise from any dead, he didn't die, and blah blah blah. We get to it. So he was asking, why would Jesus show up his arm to his apostles or his disciples and blah blah blah. But well, while he does this, David Wood actually pauses to answer him. Well, we're taking a quick break and we are returning to this. Come back, beloved. May God richly bless you for taking time to wait for us. Well, quickly, let me introduce these products to you. And I think if you would want for your skin to be brightening, I always tell you, you will have to contact Skin Code Cosmetics. Or get through me if you really want to erase or eradicate any spots, any bad spots that are emerging on your skin and all that, and seriously you would think you would want for them to be eradicated or something like that. Make sure to contact the number that is emerging on your screen, and surely they're going to help you and they're going to deliver those products at your doorstep wherever you are. Well, let's quickly go to David Wood while he responds to Zakir Naik.
What was he trying to prove by showing his hands and feet?
He was trying to show them that he had a body and that he had therefore been resurrected.
What was he trying to prove by showing his hands and feet? Was he trying to prove that he was resurrected?
Yup.
Was he trying to prove that he was spirit? He was trying to prove that he was not a spirit. He was not resurrected.
Jesus showed his disciples that he had a body so that they would understand that he had been resurrected. Zakir Naik tells his listeners that Jesus showing them that he had a physical body meant that he hadn't been resurrected. Zakir Naik is contradicting Judaism and Christianity and Islam, and he just doesn't care. And neither do his followers. But even now, his followers will still agree with him. Right now, as they're watching me, they're shouting at me, saying, Zakir Naik is right. Resurrection means you're just a disembodied spirit. Jesus had a body, so he hadn't been resurrected. We know absolutely nothing about theology, but we believe everything Zakir Naik says. They're saying this because they've been psychologically conditioned to agree with anything Zakir Naik says, especially when he's lying about Christianity. But this is where things get fun. This is the part of the video where no one has to take my word for anything, because we're going to go to the passage that Zakir Naik quoted to see what Jesus actually said. We're about to find out either that Zakir Naik speaks the truth or that he's a complete, utter, total liar. Here's the passage Zakir Naik was using to show that Jesus hadn't been resurrected and hadn't even died. According to Zakir Naik, resurrection means that you return as a disembodied spirit. But Jesus had a physical body, which means that Jesus hadn't been resurrected. He hadn't been raised from the dead. He hadn't died. He was still alive, and he was trying to show his disciples that he was still alive. Let's read the passage. Luke 24, verses 36 to 42. As they were talking about these things, Jesus himself stood among them and said to them, Peace to you. But they were startled and frightened and thought they saw a spirit. And he said to them, Why are you troubled? And why do doubts arise in your hearts? See my hands and my feet, that it is I myself. Touch me and see, for a spirit does not have flesh and bones as you see that I have. And when he had said this, he showed them his hands and his feet. And while they still disbelieved for joy and were marveling, he said to them, "Have you anything here to eat?" They gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and ate before them. According to Zakir Naik, the most popular Dawagandist in history, in this passage, Jesus is trying to convince his followers that he didn't die and didn't rise from the dead. Now, since Zakir Naik is a compulsive liar, and we definitely can't trust him when he quotes the Bible, let's keep reading where he left off, just to make sure he isn't pulling another fast one. The passage continues. Then he said to them, "These are my words that I spoke to you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the law of Moses and the prophets and the Psalms must be fulfilled." Then he opened their minds to understand the scriptures and said to them, "Thus it is written that the Christ should suffer and on the third day rise from the dead, and that repentance for the forgiveness of sins should be proclaimed in his name to all nations, beginning from Jerusalem." Jesus opened their minds to understand the scriptures. Why? So that they would understand that the Christ should suffer and on the third day rise from the dead. Rise from the dead. Rise from the dead. Hard to rise from the dead unless you were dead. According to the verses that Zakir Naik conveniently left out, what was Jesus doing when he appeared to his disciples? He was showing them that he had risen from the dead and that it had to be that way. According to Zakir Naik, what was Jesus doing when he appeared to his disciples? He was showing them that he hadn't died and hadn't risen from the dead. Zakir Naik tells his gullible followers that Jesus was doing the exact opposite of what Jesus said he was doing. Jesus literally explained what he was doing, and Zakir Naik tells his audience that Jesus was doing the exact opposite of what Jesus said he was doing. This passage in Luke isn't confusing at all. Jesus' disciples had no concept of a dying or rising Messiah, but Jesus died, then appeared to them. That would have been extremely confusing to them. So, to show them that he had been resurrected, he showed them that he wasn't a ghost. He had a physical body.
Well, beloved, may God richly bless you for taking time to listen. You see, so I think that he got the answers that he wanted, okay? I think he was querying, and surely his addresses were amazed. They were looking at him amazingly, or with an amazing eye. But you know what? They were not asking any question. That is exactly what sometimes I don't like about Muslims, okay? I think you normally goes by what's stipulated in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Ayah 101, where it stated that you need not to be asking questions whenever your imam presents anything to you. Muhammad didn't like this. I think if you go to this book, is it Maududi? Is it volume 1, page 101, if I've gotten it correct, or page 91, thereabout, if I've gotten it correct. Maududi actually reported that Muhammad, he had wanted to present something to his addresses, his audience, and surely while they were listening, and out of the midst, a person raised their hand and asked the question. And the question the person asked was something that was very much intriguing, and for that matter, he had never wanted to answer this question, and thus his facial expression or his facial countenance turned into red, and that is when he stipulated or he warranted the idea that no one should ever query. You shouldn't ask question. You see, Muhammad realized that information was the greatest enemy. How we get to, because any information controlled cult seriously would want to control some information, and they would want to control your mind. They would want to tune your mind to a certain level, okay? Or they would want for you to understand certain things, and they chip in fear okay, in your heart, so that you wouldn't be able to search for those kind of information that will help you to say goodbye to the religion or desert the religion. That's exactly what Muhammad did. He was a great man. He controlled information, and that's exactly what's beating up the minds of Muslims, most Muslims at this time round. And I think a lot of countries are mourning because Muslims are living in the Islamic religion. They're getting to know that indeed many things were hidden from them, and Christian Prince and those people that are actually doing this kind of similar program doing over here are helping the worldwide to actually know for sure that Islam is counterfeit. Well, that is it. Modern communication has shrunk the globe. It has shrunk the globe, so you can watch whatever program you want in your room. Even when it was locked down, when it was coronavirus, that was somewhere 2019. As most Muslims got access to the internet, and surely they watched several many things. You remember in those time, seriously, number of Muslims actually left Islam because they actually got to know that the cyber is actually helping them a lot with information. I'll be getting with me. Well, we are ending it up here, and I'm telling you that if you would want to argue about this, make sure to drop a comment under the comment section, and make sure to also like the program, share to your loved ones, and make sure to tag Dr. Zakir Naik for us. Make sure to also help in subscribing to the channel. And surely, if you would want to have a personal or one-on-one communication with me, fancy what people has been requesting on the comment section, make sure to contact me personally via watchesteven152@gmail.com. Through this mail, you will get my personal contact, and surely we will have one-on-one communication or one-on-one studies. Well, we drop it here and we continue some other time. Bye-bye.